Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the American Tier 9 Premium Heavy Tank, the Concept 1B. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Concept 1B, we've got two really nice games in this tank. What's it like? Well, it's got a good top speed. This tank is definitely played more like a medium tank than it is a heavy tank. You want to be that flanking, spanking, medium-esque vehicle, get yourselves into good hull-down positions, and then work them over with this gun, which doesn't have the best DPM in the universe for a Tier 9 medium tank slash heavy tank. Its DPM is pretty woeful, but on the whole, it's got pretty damn nice armour with that good mobility, and you can put out the hurt when you get to good ridge lines and just keep swinging, essentially, with this vehicle. And, yeah, with the top speed of a 49.5 km/h top speed, with the setup that we've got by running the traction system, you do feel really quite nimble in this vehicle, which is great for the Concept 1B, and it does hit that 49.5 km/h top speed as well. It feels like a very, very nimble tank. You also have a 19.8 km/h reverse speed as well, which means this tank pulls back very, very fast. With a 20.64 horsepower per ton ratio, yeah, you do get that top speed very, very easily. It's definitely, like I said, played more like a flanker and a more of a support heavy tank on a ridgeline. That's just basically the way you want to play the vehicle. You have 43.16 degrees a second hull rotation speed with the setup we've got, which means it does turn very, very fast as well, which is great. You've got 0.31 accuracy with the setup that we've got, which means the gun is fairly accurate at distance, with a 2.12 aim time as well, which with the setup we've got, which means that the gun does get aimed in very fast. Accuracy of 0.71 during rotation and 2.41 during movement means that this gun doesn't actually bloom out that much, which is why I don't run the gun stabilizer, because I feel like the bloom isn't too bad without the gun stabilizer, and even then you've got a decent aim time, which means that you can make it. You can play to the tank's strength a lot more by the fact that you want to be that faster tank and get about the battlefield and play more like a medium tank in the old Concept 1B. You do have 10 degrees of gun depression, which is glorious, which means you play a ridgeline fantastically, which is what you're seeing here on Muravanka. And by the way, both replays are on Muravanka, same spawn, because we had two really nice games on both in the same spawn. It's just weird how that works sometimes, you know, it happens. But yeah, it shows that you can use the ridgelines like you are here on Muravanka to really nice effect. You've got 258mm of penetration on the standard APCR round that this tank gets, with 1478 meters a second shell velocity, which is glorious. The shell velocity is fantastic, with the penetration being really good as well. It means you don't struggle to really pen anything with your standard round, except for the super heavies, for which you've got 310mm of heat pen, which then doesn't struggle with those tanks either, which is great. The shell velocity on the heat and the HE is 1173 meters a second, so you do have to lead a little bit more with those rounds and be a little bit careful. You just have to make sure. Like I say, the reload on this tank though is pretty damn slow. This is where the DPM is what lets this tank down a little bit, because you have a 9.92 second reload with the full build that we've got, which gives you a 2.4k DPM, which is a little bit slow and can be a little bit painful in situations. It's just the fact that it's one of the slowest DPM heavy tanks at the tier. But everything else about the tank is really damn solid, because the turret armor is great, the hull armor is pretty funky. Funky is what I'd call the hull armor. It's not the best, but at the same time, it does ricochet quite a lot of shots because of how well angled it is, right? It's just a bit funky. So what do I run in terms of a crew on the Concept 1B? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Track Mechanic, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Clutch Braking, and Off-Road Driving. Off-Road Driving to reduce the effects of the ground resistances on our top speed, so that I have every chance of hitting it, so that I can use the fantastic mobility of this tank. I run the Clutch Braking to make it feel really nimble and sort of more medium tanky in terms of its track traverse. The Steady Aim and the Run and Gun to make the gun 10% better on the move and 10% better in general, which is always fantastic to do for a tank like this, especially when it doesn't have the best base accuracy, right? And then Track Mechanic to be able to get the tracks back on quicker if we do get tracked after we've used the repair kit. In terms of equipment, I run the Advanced Loader, the Traction System, and Optics. Optics to be able to spot for myself, and again, so I can play it in that more medium tanky way, so I can get really good assistance damage, depending on the map. I then run the traction system to get up to that 49.5 km/h top speed with it, which is really great. Again, like I say, it means the top speed on this tank is fantastic. And the advanced loader to be able to get the DPM as high as possible, because the DPM is slow on this tank. It has a very, very slow reload. with the optics, we do get the view range up to 512 meters of view range, which is pretty glorious. And like I say, it means you, especially if you're on maps like Mali or Proc, you will get massive high assistance damage games. So you can put yourself in the right spots to be able to spot for your team, as long as naturally they shoot them, because that's a bit of a struggle sometimes. So this first game on Moravanka with the South Spawn, we do manage to finish the game with 5.4k damage. The victory with these 3 kills, the 909 assistance, 1980 blocked, so we did block a fair amount of damage there. Ace Tank of the Steel Wall, the high caliber, for the 1756 base XP. A pretty damn nice game there for the Concept 1B on Moravanka. And like I say, sod's law, right? Someone asked for a video on this tank again, because I think the last time I did a video on this tank was about 2 years ago, something like that. So I was like, well, let's go play in this tank. And, you know, we were trying to get a replay for it. And the games were going sort of, not the best, but also not the worst, right? You know, it's fairly average games, like 3k damage. And then eventually, we played Moravanka, South Spawn. Sod's Law, of course, means that we got a fantastic game on Moravanka South Spawn. Again, but Moravanka South Spawn is definitely a very, very nice spawn for the Concept 1B, because once again, it means you can play to that medium tank capacity of the Concept 1B. And it really does show off how good it is in these sorts of situations where you get yourselves to the ridgeline, get yourself to those aggressive positions to get the early shots off, get hull down, just ricochet lots of shots off your turret, and just be super consistent with pushing out the damage. Because I think that's the thing, with the DPM being really low on this tank at 2.4k, it just means that you do really make sure that you are going to hit the shots. I say that as I miss, of course. You do really make sure you're going to hit the shots, and you just feel a little bit consistent in the damage you're putting out, because you've been a bit more slow, considered, and concise in exactly where you're hitting, right, to put the shots out, because you don't want to miss, because, well, missing means that you're going to have to wait a pretty long time to get the reload in. So, we're here at this ridgeline here at F8, which is a nice position to take because you can get shots at the people that cross along the DE line and get to the positions where they are now at E9. But also, you can shoot the people that do tend to sit at E7 or sit a bit further back where that charioteer is as well. You can just get up on top of the ridgeline. As well as that, you can actually get shots at people at like D3 as well, which is pretty good. It just means you get multiple positional shots off, essentially. But we want to deal with these guys right now. I'm thinking, do I go in? Should I just go in on this leopard? The leopard's the only one in right now. Okay, you know what? We're going to go put some pressure up. So we get a shot through the leopard's upper plate, and we're just going to back off as quickly as possible. We're using that good reverse speed of the Concept 1B to get out of dodge. The Progetto 46 chances it to get another shot towards us, and we put the shot in to him after bouncing his shot, which is glorious. Now we've got the PTA that came after us. He bounces a shot off of us. We put a shot through him, and he does actually punish us with the second round because he is stuck. But we were just pulling back because of the Progetto 46 possibly coming around after us, but he's not come after us. So Mr. Leopard, I'm just going to put the bullying into you. We give him a little bit of a ram, which puts him down to a definite guaranteed one-shot for us if we get the shot in. The Progetto 46 has come round after us, so we finish off the Leopard, and unfortunately the Progetto 46 did manage to put all 3 rounds into us, but now we're face-hugging him. He is not actually going to pen us in this situation, so we put a shot into his side, and we're just going to wait on the reload. This guy's going down. I'm like, no sir, there is no escape, and the Type 59-2 does end up finishing him off. A little bit lag there as we ended up swiveling there, but we're now going after the ISU 152 because we can just about see that guy if he gives us a shot, which it does fly straight through into his superstructure, and that puts us on to 3.6k damage with 115 assistance so far. Just hoping to shut down this ISU if I can, and there we go, the shell flies through and shuts him down, because we didn't really want that ISU to be alive if we could help it. I wanted to get rid of that Leopard in that situation because we did have a bit of an overmatch in terms of numbers in the forest. So I just wanted to push the tempo, get rid of the Leopard PTA. To be honest, I thought if the Progetto 46 was going to come in on us, I thought he was going to take more hits than he did. But sadly, he didn't, and he managed to drop all 3 shots into us. But, you know, we managed to get rid of him, which is decent anyway. The Chrysler K is attacking on the wrong side of the ridgeline. And I say the wrong side of the ridgeline because he's given us 3 shots. And this is where we can progress the fight pretty nicely from once we've won the Magic Forest. This is where the Magic Forest can be nice, right? If you win it, you can get hull down on this ridgeline. You can actually spot the people that are on their campy ridgelines. And you've got a lot of buildings that mean that you can actually push up quite aggressively too and keep yourself safe, essentially, from the enemy team as you push up. So we put a shot through the GW Tiger Pig there. We really want this artillery gun. He gets unspotted. I was thinking about blind firing it, but I'm thinking, okay, no, you know what? He might get spotted again. Let's just wait and see. I don't want to push too aggressively so far because there's still 9 tanks alive on the enemy team. They could get shots at me at any point. I'm a one-shot for some of those TDs. I don't want to die. The artillery gets really lit up, but we didn't notice. Well, we noticed too late because we were looking at the T-30. Which we should have been looking towards that artillery anyway, because the Huntsman had moved out that way. But once again, we do get detected, and I'm thinking, okay, there's definitely something in a position that can see me, possibly towards their cap, maybe that T-30 that was over at F3, F4, but I don't know. So we're just going to, we're just going to wait and be as patient as possible. We have shots into the back of the Type 4 Heavy, and it's like, oh, this is perfect, because you can shoot straight down the middle of the EF line when they push quite aggressively from this area as well, which is why it's also can be a good idea to take the Magic Forest as well, because if you win the Magic Forest, and then they haven't won the aggressive heavy tank fight where this Type 4 Heavy is, then the medium tanks and heavy tanks can actually just farm straight into this middle area. But we are shooting the Type 4 in the rear, and he just isn't bothered. They're just not bothered. They're like, shoot me more. I don't care. They finally realised that death is coming their way, and they've pushed into our team who have managed to shut them off. Now we get the shot in to shut down the Chrysler K, and we are out of APCR rounds. We're up to 6.4k damage with 678 assistance. The T-30 gets spotted in the middle. He's been there the whole time. I couldn't actually see him. He was up on top of that ridgeline. Just manoeuvring into a position where maybe I can get a shot at him. Looking for the shot at the T-30, but I'm not quite sure what. I can't. It must be that he's just behind that building. It's making it very, very awkward. Yeah, there is a building just in the way, which means I can't quite see him. But we're aiming the heat round towards the back of his tank, and sadly, it misses because we didn't really fully aim it and we didn't really lead it too much. So because the heat rounds have worse velocity, it just looped away. Now he's given us his full back end. We managed to shut down that T-30, waiting on the reload again to now try and shut down the batch at 12T, but he gets shut down by the Type 59-2. There's 3 tanks left on the enemy team, which we know where they're probably going to be. They're all going to be towards this corner at A3 and C1. But we do have to be a little bit careful because naturally they could shut us down if we're not careful. So we put a heat shell towards the Wraith. If we had APCR, every likelihood is we'd have penned that Wraith there. Because the Wraith is covered in space armor, the heat round just went, nah, no penetration for you, my friend. We got detected there when we poked over the ridgeline, which made me think, that's the TD somewhere. That's awkward. But we're going to push in aggressively now because, well, our team is pushing in. We come round. There's the SU-130. We try and get the RBRT, but we miss. The Wraith missed the shot on us, and we're just going to push in as fast as possible. This is where we're going to use the mobility to get towards the enemy team. So we see the side shot there on the Wraith. We put the shot straight in for 6.9k damage. The HWK-12 is running around on our left, but we're not really paying him too much attention. There we go. We finally decide to try and shoot him, and obviously just as we shoot, naturally, he gets behind a ridgeline. We've now got the Wraith in front of us. I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to ram this Wraith. So we could shoot him at this point, but I'm thinking, nah, I'm going to ram it. And in fact, we should have just shot him because we'd have been able to shoot him, get probably our 5th kill there, or we'd have pushed ourselves over 7k damage. But I just wanted to ram. Ram was denied. Sad time. Nobody wanted to see the ram, apparently. Sad times. Sad times for Concept 1B. But we finished with the victory. 4 kills, 6.9k damage, 1150 assistance, a decent amount of blocks. The ace tank of the Steel Wall, the high caliber, with 1974 base XP. A great game there for the Concept 1B. Honestly, it is a really solid heavy tank. It's really good at when it brawls hull down, and it's definitely played more like that support medium. It's a pseudo heavy, right? It's a pseudo medium tank. You play it more like that support medium tank than you do a heavy tank, realistically. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Great success!